So the new 3.9 litre V8 engine under the bonnet gets a twin scroll turbocharger. Now that develops 552 brake horsepower and 557 pound-feet of torque, all enough to get it from 0 to 62 miles an hour in a blink of an eye, 3.5 seconds. And it will push on to 124 miles an hour from stationary in just 11.2 seconds. Pretty sensational. The new engine's mounted 40mm lower than before to help lower the centre of gravity of the California T. It's also up to 15% more efficient, with CO2 emissions now down to 250 grams per kilometre. On an official combined cycle, it'll return 26.9 miles to the gallon. The Ferrari's got a variable boost management system, which means the torque and power isn't available in lower gears, only in top gears. The engine freely revs up to 7,000, but you don't need anywhere near it. You're never going to really get there because there's so much power to take you up and beyond national speed limits. The Speciale edition does have a louder exhaust, and that's just fine with me. It settles down into the background when you don't want it, but it's got that drama when it starts up, that grumble, and then when you want to floor it, it makes this noise. This has got a 7-speed dual clutch automatic gearbox, and if you leave it in auto mode, it's really impressive. It's proper Grand Tourer, just settles back into the background, changes gear with aplomb. It's so impressive and so smooth. However, you want a little bit more fun, then flick it into manual mode or press the auto button again to disengage automatic, and the engine's at your mercy. Downshifts are incredibly quick, and you can do multiple downshifts at just the pull of the lever. However, where auto mode does fall down a little is if you're suddenly wanting to overtake. You plant your foot, and it really does take a surprising amount of time for a couple of gears to be shifted so that you're ready to go. You've just got that delay. This is the optional steering wheel with the Formula 1 inspired gear shift lights on the top, so they light up the nearer you get to the red line and when you're about to change. But in all honesty, this thing again is so powerful that you very rarely see it get past like 2 or 3. So the steering wheel has all your major controls, including your indicators for either side, lights on, off and flash, and windscreen wipers. And it works absolutely brilliant in a straight line. Everything's so naturally positioned. The problem is, as you're turning, for example, round a roundabout, as your hands go round, you either get confused where the indicator is, or your hands have crossed. Ferrari expect most buyers of the Cali to be new customers to the brand. So anyone expecting to turn up and buy a Formula 1 car for the road are going to be solely disappointed. But what you're not going to be disappointed about is how comfortable this is. It is surprisingly supple, and that's in comfort mode and sport mode. Sport mode itself still not really shaking your fillings out. Also in sport mode, there's an extra damping setting that will allow you to soften that suspension even more, which is particularly helpful on UK roads. Press the button and a little bumpy road sign comes up and everything gets a little bit smoother, whilst you're still benefiting from everything else in sport mode, so quicker gear changes, sharper handling and a better exhaust note. In comfort mode, you will notice body roll going into the corners. It's by no means bad, but it's certainly surprising and quickly lets you know that this is a Grand Tourer. The Manettino dial on the steering wheel allows you to change your driving settings just at the rotation of the dial, from comfort, sport to traction control being completely off, but I wouldn't necessarily advise that unless you're on a track. The thing I've been most hesitant in this car really is back-end slippage. It's got a 47 to 53% weight distribution from front to rear, and I've really expected the rear to chat more than it has. I've been well prepared to prevent it getting a swapper on, but it just hasn't done it. The traction control system is excellent and it's really kept things in place. There's only been the odd little squirm, and if you consider how much power is going through this, that's very impressive. Even taking it out in damp conditions yesterday, it didn't really put a foot wrong. Steering's also a little bit inconsistent. As you start to turn in, there's then suddenly a lot more angle available for very little effort. You suddenly sort of jerk the wheel a bit. However, put it into sport and it's much, much improved. The steerings are then really nicely weighted. very, very accurate and quick to respond, whilst the handling settles down and loses that initial body lean. It's still supple, but it's much better and the handling's much more entertaining for it. The sport setting actually allows a little bit more slippage, so you can have a little bit more fun without going to the extremes. The steering really impressed me on the motorway, just how smooth it is and how little input you need. It's like being in an F-15 fighter, just picking your way through the traffic. The Brembo carbon ceramic brakes perform nicely. They're not too grabby or snatchy, they're just very linear in their delivery. With the top down and the windows up, there's very little buffeting. Yeah, I've got the wind diffuser up, but it's only the top of my hair that's buffeted, and you can sit in here and have a chat quite happily with your companion. Roof up, it's very quiet, it's nicely refined, and you can genuinely while away long distances in very good comfort. These seats are figure hugging and are very comfortable, and there's no point where you get out, stretch yourself thinking that was a bit of an ordeal. Visibility is really good because you've got these little fan-like windows behind. Over the shoulder is absolutely impeccable. Behind, with the roof up or down, visibility is pretty good at all. The only problem behind is in the wing mirrors. Those rear haunches are so high it does block some of your view. To the front, you've got no idea where the end of the car is. It's well in front of you and it swoops down, so you're very conscious of not bumping into anything at all. Well, the Cali T really is a fabulous Grand Tourer. There's lots of space in here, it's luxurious, there's space for four, just and a big boot to take your weekend stuff. It's supremely fast and it's got a fantastic ride. It's not the be-all and end-all in handling, but it still holds its own and is entertaining. Check out the website for the full review, do subscribe to the channel for free, and thanks for watching.